Hello, everyone, and welcome to another jam-packed edition of the OverMark Podcast. It's me, one half of your co-host, Dave. And before we dive headfirst into today's madness, let me introduce the man sitting across the screen from me. He's forgotten more about retro gaming than most people will ever learn. He's the kind of guy who can turn a busted Nintendo into a work of art before breakfast. If there's a mod for it, he's either built it, improved it, or already 2 steps ahead of the tutorial you're watching. Ladies and gentlemen, the pixel pushing, cartridge cleaning, turbo button wielding legend himself, my good buddy, TJ. How's it going, TJ?
I wouldn't say I'm a legend at anything, but I appreciate the awesome introduction. It's cool. I'll get you back on the next one, but it's definitely generally I don't clean my cartridges unless you go to use it and it doesn't work. Which does actually happen these days. Especially with like Game Boy cartridges, they're not the best, and believe it or not, DS and 3DS games are old enough to be suffering from that as well. But you just whip some alcohol out and slide it on down. But anyways, yeah, appreciate it, Dave.
Oh yeah, good to see you. So, speaking of that, what is that? Just like you got to do like a little contact cleaning or something, I
Pretty
assume.
much, yeah,
Get a little carbon buildup or whatever on there. Okay.
yeah, it happens. Um,
Yeah.
I really like the cartridge format though. It's like everybody else has abandoned it, but Nintendo, and it makes sense. But really, it's like especially when you're dealing with kids, it's CDs. What's going to last longer?
Yeah, kids are going to thrash CDs. I mean, we were kids. We had
We did it.
PlayStations. We know.
Yeah, we did it. It was impossible, to not mess them up here and there,
Remember the
in
things,
and out.
we're getting way off topic here, but the deal, and it's like, oh, cleans your CD or game or
The little puck.
refinishes it, and it would just always scratch the shit out of it. It would never clean it or fix it.
Yeah, I feel like my best bet when I was a kid would just literally be to take it, run it over the sink, get like everything off of it pretty good, dry it off. Hopefully there was just no dust on it because you're not going to get the scratches off, but it would work with the scratches sometimes if you just got all the dust off because maybe some dust would settle in the scratch. So it's, just,
I hadn't considered that. Yeah,
yeah.
that's good point.
I had a lot
But
of
anyway,
video games, still do.
go
I, nothing you don't already know. I got a lot of video games. Go ahead.
ahead. As you can see behind him, and
It's
as you can
nothing.
see behind me, we're doing it raw. No more background.
Work in progress.
We'll have something up here that looks cool eventually, But yeah, we today we're going to be talking to you about SmackDown from August 8th, 2025, and Collision from August 9th, 2025. We got a whole bunch of the news, which you guys seem to love, and King of the Hill review, and then also we've got TJ's MMA preview where he's going to preview UFC. What is it? 319.
Yes, just the main event though. It,
Okay.
there will be some good fights on this card, but a lot of the people are kind of unknowns and stuff. I feel like for the most part, at least to the mass audience. So the only thing I really want to cover that's not gonna have people being like, "Huh, who are these people?" is the main event.
Yeah. Well, as always, follow us on all of our socials at OvermarkEnt. We're back to where we're starting to update our Twitter and Instagram a little bit more. We had kind of slacked on that for a minute. It is what it is. But yeah, follow all that stuff. And I'm going to throw it over to Would you rather jump into SmackDown or would you rather jump into Collision this week? Which one do you want to do?
I'll take this one here. So we have
Sounds
WWE
good.
SmackDown from 8/8/25. We had an attendance with tickets distributed of 13,732, and they had a setup for 13,947. So I'm pretty sure they had that place filled up, and it was the Center Bell in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So that place is pretty nice. The Montreal crowd, Canada is always, they have great crowds, but Montreal in
Hot
specific
crowd, yeah.
is some of the best wrestling crowds ever when it comes to WWE pay per views. If you take the right match to them in a pay per view format, they usually go nuts. And it's the same way for MMA. They love MMA up there. If you got George St. Pierre up in a pay per view in the UFC, it broke every time they did that. They would break a record. Obviously, they've
Oh,
broken
yeah.
those records now because they're charging a lot of money for everything. But they're willing to fork out the money if you got the card. So
Calgary always does really good
yeah,
too for wrestling, at least. Anytime they're at the Saddle Dome there, that place is electric.
So we have the MFTs, uh, Jacob Mateo and Talatanga, defeating the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin in a tag match. Um, I wasn't feeling this.
No. Underwhelming to say the least.
Yeah. And then we got Sami Zayn defeating the WWE United States Champion Solo Sikoa in a non-title match. Uh, this is where he's from. He had the good pop. I wouldn't say the match was the best. It wasn't the worst.
It's one of those examples of what we talk about, that the crowd can make a decent or good match better just by how hot they are, and that a good example of that. Crowd was real hot for Sammy. Decent match.
WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Charlotte Flair defeated Chelsea Green. Not champions, just champion, one half of them there. But this was an okay enough match. Charlotte and Alexa, they're getting some pretty good reactions. People are definitely feeling what they're doing. So I think it's cool that she gets to do something. Charlotte gets to have a belt, but it's not the big time one. Give somebody else a chance.
Let other people be the stars. Yeah.
What'd you think?
Decent match. I like Chelsea Green, and obviously Charlotte Flair is one of the best women wrestlers of all time, and her gimmick is slowly working its way over with the crowd.
John Cena and undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, defeated Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre via DQ in a tag team match. This was good. Crowd was hot for it. Enjoyable.
Definitely entertaining. Really good match. Yeah, not like a great match, but all of the people involved, it's like pay-per-view level quality of hype.
Good aftermath too.
Yeah.
Good little beat down on Cody, and this is a program that they haven't done before. I'm pretty sure McIntyre and Cody, at least since Cody's been back. So this should be good.
Yeah, I feel like it's been mostly Punk and LA Knight for McIntyre the last like couple years.
He's been hurt here and there too, so I think that's
that too.
Also,
and Priest.
Yes, correct. He just put over Priest. So, and my high point for this wonderful evening of wrestling was Sami Zayn beating Solo Sikoa in his hometown. It was just the crowd reaction and all that. That's what I'm into in wrestling. I really enjoy a match when the crowd enjoys it. So it was good for me. What about
Crowds can make it. We always talk about that. Well, my high point was the main event. Partially because of the crowd that we were watching it with. We watched it with our homie Brandon, and he's still not used to watching. So like when you get a match that has all of the high level people in it, he gets really hyped for it. So that kind of hyped me up a little bit during it for it. So the main event for me.
He
shout out to Brandon.
He doesn't realize that like back 25 years ago, every night on Monday and Thursdays were like the highest level of like all the guys against each other paired together. You always had the top guys and programs together like every Monday and Thursday.
Yeah.
It was some wild stuff. But my low point was the MFTs versus Motor City Machine Guns. I'm just questioning like how the Motor City Machine Guns just look so old. It's confusing. Like they're like I think like 42, 41, 43, but they look like they're like nearing 60, man. They look beat up. They look worn, used. But what about?
They might be older than that, but
yeah,
not much.
But yours, Dave, like I spoiled yours.
No, that's okay. 1 second. Yeah, no, you're right. 42 and 43. Boy, so they're the same age as well. They're looking better than me. So good job, boys.
They're not. You don't look beat up. Like you don't look physically like you're just like, man, here I am.
I haven't wrestled for 20 years too. But anyway, my low point was the same as TJ's. Whichever the Tonga Giant one is, that guy just sucks. We get it. He's big, but man, he can't work for shit.
He's like trying to be the big show, but it's not going to happen.
The fucking green show. Oh, sorry. We're not supposed to be swearing anymore as much. That's okay.
Yeah, they can. If it happens, we don't have to apologize. We know we messed up. We'll just try to limit it. It's all we can do. We're only human.
Yeah, that's right.
But
well,
take us on.
That's kind of. Go ahead.
You're good. We're interrupting each other. Take it on the Collision.
Well, we got a AEW Collision from August 9th, 2025 with a Looks like the attendance figures here are
Oh, wait.
3,197. What's up?
What did you rate this show?
Oh, yeah, we left our ratings out. That was like an average episode of SmackDown. I give it like a 5.
I'm going to disagree with you and give it a 4.9.
Hell yeah. Whoever's closest without going over.
Yeah. All right,
Like
go
the
ahead.
Price is Right.
Sorry to interrupt you.
All right.
there.
Well, no, you're okay. We're doing the thing here. Circling back to the AEW Collision here, we got the attendance says 3,197 tickets distributed out of 3,653 with a grand total of 456 left over. Maybe they moved more of them, maybe they didn't. Didn't look bad on TV, and that's better than what we could say for how most of this looked on TV. They're at the Berglund Center in, what is that, Roanoke,
Roanoke.
Virginia? Roanoke. Oh, okay. That was like a episode or show of some series at one time too.
See, I grew up in Maryland, and there's more than one Roanoke, and there was kind of one up near me. And there's actually one in North Carolina, too. There was this weird thing. It's like out near the beach where there was these Indians, and there was this tribe, and that lived by these group of like colonial people, and the colonial people just disappeared one day. Yeah, nobody knows still to this day where they went.
The Indians probably killed them and buried them. I mean, it seemed pretty easy to me, but maybe not. Who knows? Maybe they were like, "Fuck this, we're out of here."
Yeah.
But anyway, we got our matches here. The opening match of TNT champion Kyle Fletcher versus defeating Tomohiro
Ishii.
Jesus Christ. Nobody wants to see Ishii. I don't know why you're having your second highest level champion have a 30-minute competitive match with this guy.
I don't know. Ishii just comes in. He'll be there for a little bit, then he leaves. He's making some money off Tony, so good for him. But I think he's only ever won one match in AEW that was a singles competition. I could be wrong about that. And this isn't the way that you highlight or get your new champion over, and especially it being like 20 minutes. If you do this, 3, 4, this guy's some old man. He shouldn't be competing with Kyle Fletcher, who's supposed to be like one of the big top guys on your stuff. But sorry, go ahead.
So we got Megan Bayne defeating Emily Rose, who I'm not familiar with, but yeah, like Megan Bayne, match was okay.
Yeah. I remember my wife was like, "Who is that?" They used multiple local talent this show, I believe, and this one is your like definition of local talent.
Oh wow, okay, that's a fair description. I hadn't seen her before, but that makes sense. We got Juice Robinson defeating Ricochet. I enjoyed this. I like both of these guys.
Great match.
Then we got FTR with Stokely defeating Ryan Zucco, Joe Keys, and Josh Fuller. More guys, I don't know who they are, but
local talent.
Good match.
It was a good match, and I like how they got Stokely involved. They did the thing where they held him and Stokely jumped down and all that. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I like the pairing of FTR and Stokely. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but they've done well with it so far.
Absolutely.
And we got Hechicero defeating AR Fox, and the match of I don't need to see either one of these guys really.
Same. AR Fox seems okay, but they haven't put him in a way to highlight him being okay besides having good matches in high spots. But everybody in the show has that. So what makes this guy stick out except that he has less charisma and not as good promos? Nothing. Hechicero shouldn't be on the show. If there was a way that they could highlight him as well, maybe that would be something that would happen. But when you don't necessarily, I don't know, he's just some guy in a mask.
Yeah, exactly. They have a lot of just some guys in masks. Even one of them's even an announcer. But we got the Triangle of Madness, Tekla Sky Blue and Julia Hart defeating Queen Amanada, Ty Mello, and Willow Nightingale. I didn't hate this match, and I don't necessarily hate the people involved in the match. It's all right, though. Nothing great.
I don't know. I guess I'm going to repeat what you just said. It was just okay. What isn't okay, though, is that name, Triangle of Madness. Like, you couldn't have came up with anything better. Did AI come up with that name for you? I remember they had the Death Triangle, too, man. These triangle names sucks. Triangle doesn't roll
Yeah,
off the tongue. Nobody puts triangle in their name.
triangle.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a triangle of anything is just not going to sound very very great. But
Sounds gaped.
yeah, it does. But go on.
We got the best wrestler alive challenge, Katsuri Shibata defeating Max Caster in a effort to just continuously devalue Max Caster. You know, when you take a wash rag and you're just squeezing it out, trying to wring every last drop. I feel like that's what they're doing to Max Caster in terms of how over that he was. They're trying to just squeeze every last bit of over out of him until he's just nobody and nobody cares about him at all.
He's actually getting this thing over that he's doing right now, though. The crowd chants it. Sorry, apologize for my dogs, but the crowd does chant his name, and they do seem into this, and they actually finally had somebody go 5 minutes with him, but that isn't what happened this week. But I like Max Caster, so I'm not going to shit on this.
I
But
do too. That's why I'm not happy about this particular gimmick.
think about it like
We
this.
say this every week. They should have never broke up the Acclaim. Think about what? I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you, but think about it like this. At least he's doing something that isn't the same thing that everybody else on the show's doing.
That's true.
It is
And
different.
he doesn't look like everybody else or sound like everybody else. He at least is separating himself from other people. He's not a random guy in a mask or a random guy in a match.
Yeah,
That's true.
go on ahead.
Well, we got the world champion Hangman Adam Page with jet speed. Oh boy, defeating La Faction, whatever the fuck, Dralistico Rouge and the Beast Mortos. Jesus Christ, this is your main event on a national television program. Yeah, Hangman's your champion, but I don't know. Whatever.
He didn't need the belt to be doing this. And I'm not even trying to shit on Hangman here. He was doing some good stuff before he won the belt, but they've been booking him just like they seem to book everybody that they don't have plans for, and just putting him in these matches, and not good, man. And I'm tired of seeing jet speed on every show. And I'm not even trying to shit on them either. They're good enough in ring talent. But this isn't it. This will never be it. And putting random guys in matches together, like the Beast Mortos, if you want your show to be taken seriously by more than just the people that are watching it, get him out of there.
That guy's in your main event
Yeah.
instead of like a comedy goof backstage segment.
Yeah.
Whatever. But anyway, we'll jump into high point, low point here. High point for your boy Dave here was Juice versus Ricochet. I enjoyed that match thoroughly. What was yours, TJ?
FTR and Big Stoke defeat Joe Keys, Josh Fuller, and Ryan Zucco. Mainly because
That's a good
Stokely.
one. Yeah. Then low point for me was Adam Page and Jet Speed versus the Goof Squad. I don't really want to see any of the people in this match. Like TJ had said a minute ago, Adam Page he was doing okay before he won the belt, and now they're doing random bullshit with him, and he hasn't been involved in anything that I've wanted to see since he got the title, essentially.
Well, it's because what they were doing was somewhat compelling, because there was something high stakes. You felt like the belt was going to change, and you wanted that. What do you want out of this?
It to be over?
Yeah, pretty much. But my low point was Nick Wayne's promo against Christian Cage. He does not need a microphone in his hand.
Nah, he definitely doesn't. Old Nick.
Absolutely. Well, all right.
That was Collision. That was what would you rate it? I'll ask you. Let you go first.
A 3.
Yeah. Yeah, like a 2.8, 2.5 for me. I don't know. I struggled to even give it a 3. It was really hard to watch. I had to actually go back and watch it because I just couldn't make it through the first time without being able to fast forward. Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy.
And
about it.
On that note,
there's that noise again.
And I got news for you.
Oh, okay. It's just
Iced
iced tea.
yeah, it's just he's telling us what it is. You
I'll
want to
take us into
jump
this.
us into the news here, or would you like me to?
You just did the last one, so I'll do this one.
Sounds
So,
good to me.
so here's our first news topic that we're going to be talking about here, and we had it's basically where's our truth. So we had did a previous thing on this, and it was basically us asking where he's been since he seems like he disappeared for like about a month or so, maybe a month and a half after he had been rehired. Um, so he finally showed up on SmackDown Friday night, and now he's a face, I guess, since Cena is. But honestly, that's just kind of a missed opportunity, me and Dave feel like. They could have used this time away to bring back the old series R-Truth, Ron Killings that he was acting like he was going to be. He cut his hair and all that.
Yeah.
He actually felt like a dangerous, unpredictable guy. Instead of slotting him back into the same comedy routine, I bet you he's going to end up with The Miz after The Miz and Mello depart. And of course, Cena's a face again now, and it's just the whole thing's just a mess. The Rock screwed them up big time coming in and wanting that whole thing to happen, and it's like the WWE just was like, all right, and just hit a big old reset button, and here we are, and Truth's right back where he was before, except with no hair. I'm not really
Yeah.
not really sure if that's good, better or for worse, and maybe he'll give us some more entertaining stuff. But in the end, I just kind of can't help but feel a little bit disappointed, and the shortcomings are very obvious. What do you think?
Well, it was good to see him back on TV. I
Yeah,
enjoyed the interaction that he had with Cena there a little when they were doing the mime thing back and forth, like the mirror thing. But yeah, definitely missed opportunity. They could have done a lot more with Truth here, and I don't know. I guess they brought him back, like we talked about in our other video. They brought him back, had him on TV for a couple of weeks, and then it was out of sight, out of mind. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they end up just letting him go again, or they'll probably just let him ride out whatever deal they gave him, and then it just be, is what it is. Yeah.
absolutely.
Welcome back, though, Truth. It was good that you're on TV again, dog.
Yeah, hopefully they have something good for him. But I bet you he'll just end up teaming with The Miz here in about a month and a half.
Well, the Awesome Truth was a entertaining tag team of the what 2010s, I guess.
They were doing that stuff as late as, or yeah, as late as like last year.
Oh yeah.
So they were still doing that stuff, kind of. And I
That,
forget what
that was
happened.
when he Miz turned on him and joined with Logan Paul or something like that, I think.
Man, I don't know. It was on the show. That's all I can tell you.
Miz is always turning on me. You think poor Truth
Yeah.
he'd eventually just quit and
He's a
forget. But anyway, yeah. Nice guy.
We
He's
can move.
forgiving.
Yeah, yeah, he is. But honestly, who cares? Maybe we do. We'll figure it out. If it's any good, we'll tell you. So
Yeah.
we're gonna move on to the next news topic here. You want to go
All
off
right.
over this one?
Yeah. So our next news topic is a backstage update on a veteran star's AEW status. Wardlow, former TNT champion and AEW big man, was spotted backstage on the August 6th AEW episode of Dynamite in Cleveland, Ohio, his hometown. He last appeared on TV in March of 2024, so it's been a while, losing to then world champ Samoa Joe at the Big Business Dynamite. They always got some kind of goofy name
Yeah,
for some of these Dynamite episodes. My God. Anyway, he disappeared due to a shoulder injury, and then while he was out with his shoulder injury, had a car accident.
yeah, messed him up
Terrible
bad.
luck for this guy. He was medically cleared earlier this year, but Tony Khan let him finish filming the American Gladiators reboot with The Miz, and now filming is wrapped. They reportedly filmed 2 full seasons. Fightful says AEW has had creative talks about his return, but no concrete plans. And he was also backstage at All in Texas, July 12th. So we'll probably see Big Wardlow here soon, and I'm sure it will be entertaining. The guy AEW pushed for about 5 minutes before putting him in the "we'll call you" pile. He's cleared, he's free from filming, and AEW might have plans for him. The translation is they'll either throw him in a meaningless 6-man or forget that he exists until next year. At this point, honestly, who gives an F?
Okay, so
Oh, we got
that's
a
for
note
me.
here, though.
That's for me. Um,
Tell us about that.
so, anyways, if you remember, Wardlow at one point on the show was like super over. He was one of the most over guys for like a couple months, and that was when. So basically, he was the bodyguard for MJF, and he just kept getting MJF out of trouble over and over and over again. Well, eventually they ended up having a program. MJF didn't want to work for him anymore, but he worked for MJF in the storyline, not AEW. So MJF was employing him. So he ends up beating MJF, and he was super over. He ended up pretty much squashing him.
Yeah.
And he was like the most over guy on the show at the pay-per-view there, which was what I have the notes for. I just wanted to remember. And it was AEW Double or Nothing 2022. And he earned his release from MJF's contract, and he got an AEW contract. The next night, they had him in a match against like 18 security guards. And it's just like his momentum from that point, from being like the most over guy to just whatever. And they just beat him down for like months in a row. And it was like sporadic injuries and disappearances. And I don't know, it's going to be tough to get that back.
Real good at devaluing these guys for some reason.
Yeah, 100%. But we'll go ahead and move on here. Actually, that would be cool to see Wardlow back. I did like Wardlow. I was a fan of his when he was on the show.
Yeah.
He seems to get lost in long matches, and I don't know where he's training or what he has going on, but hopefully that's improved. But it's tough to improve beyond promos when you're hurt.
Ring general, he is not.
Yeah. But anyways, a WWE Hall of Famer looks back on his role in bringing Hulk Hogan to WCW. So in the wake of Hulk Hogan's passing, Ric Flair appeared on the Ariel Helwani show and talked about helping bring Hulk Hogan to WCW in 1994. Flair said that he took Hogan to Orlando while he was filming Thunder in Paradise and introduced him to Eric Bischoff. Hogan's team, Peter Young and Henry Holmes, cut a hell of a deal, and Flair just wanted to work with them. Oh, Hogan got the deal of a lifetime, dude.
Yeah.
Bring up his contract real quick, or at least maybe his 96 one. But Hogan didn't trust anyone else to ease him into WCW, a compliment Flair clearly appreciated. Flair praised their chemistry in the ring, saying that it wasn't Steamboat level, but he knew how to make big guys look good, which he definitely did. He also joked that Hogan wasn't shy about using the sword, aka the blade. Flair, gigging himself. Flair called Hogan WCW's Golden Goose, saying that anything Hulk touched worked, which for a while and to some extent that is true. And on Hogan's heel turn and the NWO, Flair said that it sparked a wrestling boom and was believable because Hogan could be a prick sometimes, which I guess was true. It was more like people were just tired of seeing him be a face for over and over again. He was definitely getting booed here and there throughout his career before the NWO heel turn. So compared to Cena, Flair said that Cena's more like Ricky Steamboat, impossible to hate, while Hogan's edge made the turn work. I apologize, guys. I'm all messed up on this. So, yeah, I mean, this definitely is true. We've heard this story from Hogan, Bischoff, and Flair. So, I mean, everybody involved told the story. And I bet you, like, when Flair told Bischoff that he wanted to set up this whole thing and that they were going to talk, he was like, oh, man, like he was probably losing it. Because, that's like the biggest guy in wrestling. And it definitely did turn the tide for him for 83 weeks, brother.
It sure did. And I was able to find some information about Hulk Hogan's contract in 1996 with WCW. According to some things here, he had a $2 million signing bonus up front, $675,000 for each pay-per-view appearance.
And this isn't the 94.
I know. No, yeah, this is the
96. Yeah, but this isn't his first contract. I just want people to know that. This is his second contract that he got. The first one was similar, but they just spiced it up for the second one.
Right. He had an additional buy rate bonus, which had reached and could reach up to $1.75 million per event. That's crazy. He earned 50% of merchandise revenue, 25% of the gate for house shows and Nitro and Thunder events, plus $20,000 per month for simply wearing NWO merchandise in public. Eric Bischoff stated Hogan's deal covered approximately 4 pay-per-views a year at $500,000 each, totaling around $2 million annually. These pay-per-view appearances often included several weeks of televised build-up and additional events like Clash of the Champions. Broader overview of the contracts during that era. I mean, this is kind of same stuff that we already mentioned here about his take of the gate and things of that nature. Hogan was also granted creative control over his character and storylines. And Let's see, we got the 50% that's already covered. I mean, yeah.
One of
So
the greatest wrestling
basically,
contracts of all time, if not the greatest.
yeah. And I mean, he basically had the greatest contracts of all time until Scott Hall came over with his favored nations deal.
But this one right here, I mean, they didn't get all the pay-per-view stuff, the merchandise stuff. They didn't get like any
Yeah,
of that
that's
other
true.
stuff that he got. Um, he 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 made more money in just some of the other stuff that he did as bonuses than like multiple people, like parts of the roster. It was kind of wild, but um, it's historically this is like the meeting that changed wrestling history. You know,
Yeah, the way that guys get paid forever, his contract in the mid 90s was extraordinarily lucrative and structured to maximize his revenue through multiple streams, pay-per-view payouts, bonuses, merch storylines, merch royalties, live gate shares, and even perks for simple public appearances. It mirrored his star power in the company and solidified his influence backstage. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty great deal.
absolutely, one of the best. But you want me to tell you something else that's really good, Dave?
What's that?
Sugar-free Red Bull, by the way. I'm a big fan of this
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
and you know what also a fan of? Maybe somebody sponsoring this video one day. We now's your chance. You can get in. Why the going rate's going to be cheaper? Because it's going to go up, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
Yeah.
right. We on the climb.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, just I can drink your drink, and we'll talk you up.
And since we're talking about product placement, I've got one right here. We've got a Century gas treatment. Maybe you can read it. Maybe you can't. I don't know. But you ever get some water in your gas? Get this stuff. I buy it at Napa. It's a little
It's
expensive,
legit.
but cool thing about that, and we're getting off topic, and we're not actually sponsored by any of this stuff. But
No.
I was in there when the rep was selling that stuff to the guys at Napa to try to get them to carry it, and the guy took a cup of water and poured some of that into the cup of water and lit it on fire, and it burned out all of the water and everything. Things like heat when you pour it in, it still floats on top of your gas, and that water just combines with the alcohol that's in those heat pour-ins. This stuff actually makes everything mix together and completely burn off, so it's
That's cool.
a little better for your fuel system. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
so get you some Century new technology fuel treatment today.
And some sugar-free Red Bull, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. But anyways, we'll go ahead and move on here. I think this one's yours, right?
Oh boy, we have a news topic update here for everybody. Tony Khan provides an unfortunate update on Jay White's AEW status. Plus, we have a rundown of all of the injuries currently on the roster. Spoiler alert, more than you might think. And we actually had Wardlow on there, but because of the other segment, we knew that he's coming back. So Tony Khan gave a rough injury update on Jay White during an appearance on the My Mom's Basement with Robbie Fox. Hmm. Well, I never heard of that show, but obviously he's got some kind of pull. He's getting the owner companies on his show.
Yeah.
He called Jay White one of the best wrestlers in the world, but says he's out for a long time. White hasn't wrestled since March when he beat Kevin Knight on Collision in a match that everybody forgot happened, probably. Injury The injury happened in that match, forcing him out of the Owen Hart Cup and several storylines. On screen, AEW said the Death Riders attacked him, but the real story is an undisclosed injury that required surgery. There is currently no timetable for his return. That really sucks. And get well soon, Jay White. You got anything that you want to add into that before we jump into the list of folks here?
I'm a big Sopranos fan, and I like doing this one quote a lot, and it's just like, Jay White, whatever happened there. Anybody that ever watches Sopranos, you'll get it. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting for us to go over the injury list, wouldn't you?
Yeah, sure would. There's
man, I think we got
lot.
one. Wow, that was fast.
It's almost like we were prepared.
Yeah.
Well, the current AEW injury list is quite extensive, and there's a term in here, TBC, which means to be confirmed, meaning that This is just the reported speculation that we're getting from places like Fightful and all the different
It's the
randoms.
confirmed injuries, the only ones that we could actually confirm.
Correct. Obviously, at the top of the list, we have Jay White with an undisclosed injury that required surgery. Don't know when he's going to be back. We got Will Ospreay with herniated discs in his back,
That's
and they're
painful.
saying that his return is imminent, targeting Forbidden Door 2025. That's a couple of weeks away. If you have herniated discs in your back, I just
It's so painful.
I don't yeah, you're not coming back soon. TJ had some kind of back injury and he was laid up for like over a month before he could, be moving around normal. And this dude's talking about wanting to wrestle.
Good luck.
Goof. Well, speedy recovery though. Hopefully he does. And if there's anything that you want to add in on these guys as we go, just stab in. Or otherwise, I'll just keep machine gunning them off. We got Adam Cole with some kind of head injury, concussion. Don't know when or if he's ever going to return.
Yeah.
He's had an unfortunate amount of head injuries, and it just
Ankle.
might be time. Yeah, that ankle was that was a
Shattered.
freak accident.
It
And then we
absolutely
got
shattered. Sorry for that.
it shattered it.
Yeah,
I didn't know how much it was messed up. That's crazy.
they had to like do some reconstructive surgery and stuff on it. It was pretty wild, but go ahead.
We got Brian Danielson with a neck injury. He's undergoing stem cell therapy. Don't know why I couldn't say that. 50-50 on if he'll even wrestle again. So he may never come back.
Well, he's retired.
At this point, yeah, he needs to just focus on quality of life for the rest of his life. Maybe you'll be able to come back, maybe you won't, but he needs to take a long time off.
Well, he just needs to help produce matches and be in the back and all that stuff. Everybody really likes him, so I think that would be, if he wants to keep working in the industry, that's the way to go. Um, I'd actually rather see him do that in WWE though, because AEW has that kind of people in the back. I feel like Daniel or Bryan would be way more of use in WWE because he could increase their match quality substantially as a producer, I believe.
Oh yeah, he I mean his matches were always good. They know. But anyway, we got Orange Cassidy, which I didn't even know he was hurt, but I know we hadn't seen him in a while. He's out with a torn pec. That's not great.
No,
Uh, we got Pac. He's out with some kind of ankle injury.
it's always a
Don't know
injury
what.
or a visa.
Yeah, poor. I don't want to call the guy snake bit, but it seems like it's almost always something with him. And then we got poor Buddy. He's out with an ankle injury. I actually saw on Instagram a couple of days ago. It was some point this week that he had surgery on that ankle or a procedure. So it's probably going to be a while before we're seeing old Buddy again.
Yeah.
And speedy recovery there. We got Eddie Kingston out with a torn ACL and meniscus. It says that he returned May 2025. We're in August, so I don't know about that. I don't think that we've actually seen him do anything.
I saw him
Maybe.
in the news the other day, actually. It was like 2 days ago, and it was him saying he's going to be bummed out because he's not going to be able to make it back for Forbidden Door. And that's what he is kind of targeted. So his return, it's going to be soon, but it's just a little bit longer than he thinks it's going to.
We'll probably not see him back until like October, November, maybe, if we see him this year. We got Mark Davis. He's out with a broken foot and ankle.
Him
A lot
too.
of lower extremity injuries to these guys. What's going on over at AEW?
Well, he just got back from being hurt, if you remember. So like
That's right.
he's right back into it.
Poor guy. Then we got Keith Lee. He's out with an undisclosed injury / illness. I don't even know what that means.
Been gone for a while.
He been out for a while. He looks like he's on the hunt for wellness. Then we got Killswitch out with double pneumonia. I don't know if we're ever going to see Luchasaurus again. I've read reports that say that he'll never be wrestling again, and then I've read other stuff that says that he'll be back at some point. But you hear anything differently?
I've read that he's fine and they don't have anything for him.
Yeah, well that makes sense. I mean, what are you going to do with a big old giant dinosaur guy?
Well, it's just rumors.
Yeah, and you got Brian Cage out with a torn quad. So he's going to be out for a while. That dude can't stay healthy. It seems like
I wonder why.
constantly in and out. Do what?
I wonder why.
Well, because he's giant fucking dude that probably isn't focused on conditioning so much and is focused on strength. And we got Riho, everybody's favorite Joshi girl. She's got a fractured arm and visa issues. Oh, Kenny's still taking care of her cat, or he was taking care of one of those girls' cats. I can't remember which one of them. But yeah, we got Colton Gunn out with a knee injury. That's why we haven't been seeing him.
That
Got the
stinks.
Blade out with a back injury. He had fusion surgery, so yeah, he's probably gone.
Yeah.
Then Kiera Hogan, I didn't even know she was still there. She's out with a shoulder injury, but it says return imminent. So
We'll see
I
about
just,
that.
yeah, you should be returning to not being on TV at Ring of Honor or something. So we got Jay White out for a long time, which in AEW means you're gone until Forbidden Door 2027 or back next week in a random 8-man tag between him, Osprey, and Cole, and half the roster on crutches. Tony might have to start booking AEW wheelchair rampage. I just
I thought
a
you
lot
said
of
hooking.
people hurt here.
I thought you said Tony might have to start hooking. I was like, wow. This is
Yeah.
taking a turn, man. I didn't think he was going to have to be doing that. Stuff might be getting rough over there.
Well, yeah, I mean he's paying all these people to be out injured, and he's not able to make any
Yeah.
money off of them, so he's got to make ends meet somehow.
Well, it's a shame, man. And there's a lot of people injured over in WWE. Maybe we'll do a similar thing about their injury list here soon. But
We should.
we definitely will. But it's just, um, I don't know. It's always something with a lot of a lot of these people are like repeat injury lists. Like they're constantly hurt. And we actually don't have Britt Baker on here either. And I don't know if she's hurt or not, or if she just has some weird issues going on. I think hers is more political stuff. But it would be great to see any of these people back because they're all talented guys. But I think it's a lot of
I
these.
don't think we've seen her since that backstage
Yeah,
disagreement she had with MJF.
yeah. But overall, that is the AEW injury list and a little commentary about Jay White there. And we're going to move on and we're going to talk about Bully Ray. And he says that a WWE Hall of Famer, Hulk Hogan, will always be a measuring stick. So we got more Hulk Hogan stuff here. We've had a lot of it lately. We said kind of get used to it, I guess. It'll simmer down here in a couple weeks, but this is what we got going for now. So on
Yep.
Bust It Open, Bully Ray reflected on Hulk Hogan's legacy following his passing. Said Hogan isn't on Mount Rushmore, Hogan is Mount Rushmore. Claimed if you wrote down everything Hogan did compared to everyone else, there's no comparison. Highlighted Hogan's place in Japanese wrestling history. In 1983, Hogan beat Inoki to become the first ever IWGP Heavyweight Champion in NJPW's inaugural tournament. Believes Hogan's name will never stop coming up in wrestling discussions, and he'll always be a measuring stick and a bar settler worldwide. That's true. Um, you can say what you want about Hogan's ups and downs, but there's no denying the man changed wrestling forever. From headlining WrestleMania to winning in Japan, to kicking off the NWO, Hogan was a global star before wrestling even knew what that meant. Like him or not, he set the standard for every megastar since, and they've all been compared to him. Which is definitely true. I don't think there's any denying that. It's Hogan. It's not even the heights that he's reached. It's the longevity. He was like in almost every major era of modern wrestling, and he was a top figure in it. He was a champion in it. And it's
I mean,
just
we were literally seeing him in wrestling. I mean, even in TNA in like the 2010s. So I
yeah,
mean, he went from the late 70s until the 2010s at the highest level that you can be in terms of stardom and notoriety. And I mean, from like 84 on, the dude was, one of the biggest. Well, I mean, from the 84 on, he was the biggest name in wrestling
absolutely.
until he just passed. It just
Yeah,
is what it is.
there's people that surpassed him for certain amounts of times, and there's like a couple people that may have had little spikes that were higher. Mainly Stone Cold Steve Austin for a little bit of a time, but when it comes to the longevity, it's always been Hogan. And those NWO T-shirts are still selling, and I think the only shirt that's more successful is Stone Cold shirt.
I
Austin 316.
challenge people to go to a wrestling event and not see an NWO shirt. There's tons of them.
Yeah,
Same with the 316 shirts, of course.
I mean, how many shows do you see where there's somebody cosplaying as Hogan on the side? They're doing Randy Savage too, but
A lot of Macho Man, but
yeah,
a lot of Hogan too.
and it's we don't need to get all sappy and do the whole miss you Hogan stuff, but it's just more people giving him his props, talking about him in a positive light, because everybody's seeming to enjoy talking about him right now, and this isn't going to be the
I
last
think
you're going
it's
to hear us talk about him.
it's therapeutic in a way to
Yeah,
talk about him. A lot of people, this is their childhood, or for people in the wrestling industry, this is the guy. Yeah, this is everybody in the industry is thankful for all his contributions, and they wouldn't exist in the fashion that they did if it wasn't for him. So of course they're going to think about him positively.
maybe next episode we can do our Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah,
I pretty much instantly
we
see
don't.
the problem with Mount Rushmore is it's four things instead of five. So like Bully Ray said, maybe you automatically just make Hogan the mountain and then pick four other people.
Well, that's what
Maybe
makes it
to be
interesting. That since it's only four, that way you actually have to make a choice.
yeah.
But yeah, maybe we'll do that next on Thursday. I think we should.
Yeah, we'll come up with if there's any qualifiers or anything,
Yeah,
is Hogan the
honorable
mountain and
mentions.
then pick four guys or something like that,
Yeah,
or just four guys and an honorable mention.
yeah,
We'll figure out something.
absolutely. But we'll uh, we'll let you know as we get there, and I can guarantee you Hulk Hogan's going to be on both of ours.
Yeah, I mean it's impossible to not have him on there. I probably three out of the four guys are going to be the exact same guys,
100%.
if I had to guess.
But
But we got some more news for you. This news topic here is wait, yeah, no, okay, I lost it there for a second.
you got it.
Some pay TV characters, starting over again. When we edit this, just start at this next part here. Some pay TV carrier customers will get WWE PLEs on ESPN's new streaming platform for free, while others won't. We got starting in 2026, WWE's premium live events will air in the US on ESPN's new $29.99 a month streaming platform, but whether you'll have to pay depends on your provider. Included at no extra cost are Charter, which is Spectrum, DirecTV, Fubo TV, Hulu Live TV, and Verizon Fios. Not included, and these are ones that will all require the extra subscription: Comcast, Xfinity, YouTube, it's YouTube TV, Dish, Sling, Atis, I don't know what the hell that is, Kageko, I don't know what that is either, Frontier, Cable One, Cox, and others. Basically, if you don't have the ones that we listed, you're
5.
paying. Yeah. The service launches August 21st, 2025, offering ESPN's linear channels, ESPN Plus, ABC Sports, and more. So a whole bunch of stuff that you're not going to watch anyway, because most people aren't watching that stuff to begin with. Outside the US, the WWE PLEs will continue to be available on Netflix, so fire up those VPNs, boys. Disney is in ongoing talks with the excluded carriers, hoping to add more before 2026. About 30 million US households will get the WWE PLEs for free on the new platform at launch. Roughly 36 million will need to pay the extra cost. Verizon Fios and DirecTV confirmed customers will have free access. Fubo says that the WWE access is still being finalized. So in 2026, half the country gets WWE's big shows on ESPN's new app for free. The other half gets a $30 a month reminder that they picked the wrong TV provider. Guess it's time to ask yourself, are WrestleMania and SummerSlam worth switching cable companies for? Probably not. I don't know. We'll figure out how we're going to watch it over at the Dave household, just like TJ's going to figure it out at the TJ household. What do you think of all this? This is pretty goofy stuff. I'm still not a fan of this deal.
Well, it's sad. Peacock really wanted to keep this, and apparently, I think they offered him $250 million a year, and it just for 5 years, and it just didn't come to fruition. And it's essentially they're making us, the WWE fans, pay for the deal. ESPN's not paying for the deal. WWE's not paying for it. We are, because they're going to charge us $20 more a month for their events that aren't really worth more than $10 a month. It's a shame. We already have an episode on it where we already talked about this on a segment in the last episode, and we don't need to run down the whole thing again, but it's actually less than half the country. It's closer to 30% of the country is going to get this for free included in their cable. This is subject to change. More cable companies could be tossed on the list before 2026 happens, where they'll have the first like you said, this is going to pop up in August, but then WWE's contract with ESPN doesn't happen till January 2026. So once that happens, this is when the whole deal comes to effect. But it's, just not good for the fans. And there's no way that WWE, so they tout every year, this is the most watched WrestleMania, this is the most watched SummerSlam. They've been doing that for every big event because they've had more people watching them than ever. They will not be doing this with this ESPN deal. And if they do, it's a lot. They'll be lying. There's no way that there's going to be as many people, especially the first couple years, on that new ESPN DTC as Peacock currently has now. ESPN just doesn't have the reach. It's kind of wild that ESPN and Disney bought into this thinking that it's going to bring people to this platform. It will, but not nearly as much as they think it's going to. And there's a reason why they're finding new people for these deals every year or every time this comes around, because they're burning their bridges to some extent. Like Fox, there's a reason why they didn't want to re-sign SmackDown for more money. They lost money on the deal, and they're just...
Fox gets the same ratings on that time slot regardless of what's on, so they could just throw on repeats for less money.
Yeah, but overall, it's just not good, super anti-consumer, and you're seeing more of that from WWE as the years go on with TKO, and I'm not into it. But you know what we are into here? We're going to talk about King of the Hill, episode 1 and 2. Yeah, so we're reviewing it. And before we go into this, I just want to structure kind of how we're doing it. So episode 2 is going to be a little bit more of a straight-up review of what happens in the show, as I feel like episode 1 is just going to talk about how the tone shifted a little bit and how the show's maybe a little bit different from the old one while still being a review. So a little bit more detailed in the episode 1, but we just wanted to talk about how we enjoyed the obvious changes right off the get-go from the new episodes. That being said, I'm going to jump into episode 1. And me and Dave, this is fucking awesome. This has been throughout the whole everything to do with this thing. It's getting like 10 out of 10s, masterpieces. I've never seen a show be as universally praised as this has been here. And
right.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say universal acclaim. You're 100% right. I haven't seen anything negative. I haven't heard anything negative, and they're doing a great job. People love this show. It's
across the whole board,
held very high.
It's in the way that it didn't differentiate itself from the old show. It's the same but different, which almost no reboot's been able to do, especially the animated ones. I guess Futurama did as well, but either way, it's just been awesome. We're going to jump into it. So that whole second to last scene from pulling up the Megalomart, and, I love the more minimal wording here. It's a nice touch, I guess. But to the cookies to Hank's talking power tools with that guy, it was just flawless. Hank and Peggy holding hands as the guy was, zipping by on the scooter. It kind of hit me a little bit. You can feel how out of place and isolated they are in this new world, but they still got each other, and they still have value in that above everything else. It's also a subtle follow-up to Hank's development over the years. He's actually holding his wife's hand in public. He would have never did that back in the day.
That's true.
He's like, hey, Peggy, we're in public. But that's a genuine vulnerability and emotional momentum for them. And it played they played it in such a wonderful and understated way. Sorry for the hiccups, guys. I'm all goofy like always on this. But the Girl Scouts a bit cracked me up. The vegan cookie option being a little bit more expensive felt like it would get at least a smirk from Hank. And then a Samoa name change nailed how Hank sees the modern world. Some changes he's fine with, and some he sees as improvements that make room for everybody. So he doesn't mind everything that's changed. So for all his love of American and Texan culture, he's always respected and appreciated other cultures, and sometimes even being genuinely fascinated by him. And with him knowing Polynesians personally, it just adds another layer to that moment. So the guy coming over to talk tools with Hank, perfect. That's exactly what he's been missing in his community where he was before. Those casual connections with people around him. And, I always loved it when the main cast interacts with background characters because it makes the town feel so much more alive than just the usual dozen faces. That chat about tools, paired with the Girl Scouts' normal cookies at a fair price, give Hank this quiet sense of belonging like he probably didn't even realize he needed. That whole thing flowed so naturally, it felt like a scene straight out of season 4. It felt like home. And that line, "That's a good change," it works on 2 levels. That's Hank's take on the world, and honestly, that's how I feel about this revival. Things have changed. Some of it's awkward, clumsy, or just not going to work as well as it did before, but some of it's good, some of it improves the story or opens up new angles. And though through all the change, it's still the characters we know, the characters we love, and they're still themselves, changes and all that. It's just like a caramel delight. It's still a Samoa, same old show with just a few touches. Which I don't know. What you think?
That was a really, really great description of that TJ. Thank you for that. I really enjoyed the first episode. Obviously, we'll get to the second one, but they did a great job. I feel like they touched on everything that they needed to touch on for a first episode. Really well written, really well put together. Plenty of callbacks, plenty of new things. I forgot the gentleman's name that they introduced. That was the fella that was renting their house. That is still hanging out in the alley drinking
Yeah.
beers with them because that's what he did for years while Hank wasn't there. So I'm looking forward to getting to know that dynamic. It seemed like that guy instantly just fit right in with Hank, but obviously Hank's not going to rent his house to somebody that he doesn't think that he isn't going to get along and fit in well with. I imagine there was probably like a meticulous lease or thing that happened with
Mm-hmm.
Hank and that guy prior to that guy renting Hank's house for all those years.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like to imagine how funny that would be.
It's just so weird. Like, I watch this show every day, King of the Hill. Me and my wife, we watch a lot of the same shows. When we first got together, one of the reasons that we got together is because, like, I was talking to her on online dating, and I sent her, a text. We were talking on Hinge, and I was like, "Have you ever heard of Trailer Park Boys?" And she's like, "I'm watching it right now." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Generally, if a chick likes Trailer Park Boys and she's telling you she's watching it right now, she's gonna be all right. So, that's what we watched, like going to sleep and all the time as our background noise or whatever when we first got together. It has transitioned to King of the Hill, and it has been King of the Hill for a lot longer and more consistently than Trailer Park Boys. It just never gets old, and this is going to be the same thing with these seasons. It's just, I don't know the right way to describe it, but it's like I had some friends missing, and I all of a sudden caught up with them again. So when I was watching it, it was like, um, I was pretty buzzed and everything, and I'm watching it, and it's all just coming into me, and it just felt great. You know what I mean? It just felt like somebody was giving me a big hug. Hey, how you doing? And they updated me on their life and where everything's been. It was amazing, man. It gave me a feeling that a show hasn't able to do in a while, and that's just I can't even describe it. It was awesome. But anyways, we'll
I
jump into
think you did a good job describing it right there. That was perfect.
we're gonna jump into episode 2. The beer story feels like a classic King of the Hill again. It was pretty. This was awesome. This episode, Norm Hiscock delivers a tried and true King of the Hill setup. Hank and Bobby bonding over a new hobby. But this revival's time jump adds a fresh twist. Hank's retirement leads him to doing some home brewing. Bobby jumps in, and soon it's father versus son at a Dallas beer competition. The episode nails the generational clash, with Hank pushing a true blue American beer and Bobby going for the creative flair. Both get caught up in winning instead of working together, until Hank admits the real story was supposed to be the time with his son. Bobby follows his lead, and they end up sharing each other's beers in the alley. Boring to Bobby, too fruity for Hank, but perfect as Peggy's ale, and she mixed them up. It's funny, heartfelt, and proved to show the show still knows how to mix old school charm with new wrinkles. Yeah, it was kind of cool. Like, they were getting competitive and all that, and Hank was kind of getting mad with Bobby because he was trying to explain to him, I do this for a living. You know how you do propane? Well, this is something that I do in my restaurant. And Hank, the judge came up to Hank and asked him, like, what's your story behind this? And he didn't really have a story. And then Bobby was watching him, and then he came up and asked Bobby the story on his, and he's like, mine's the same as this guy. And they both dropped out, and it was a wholesome little moment. And it goes to show you, like, that there's kind of like growth here in a way, because Hank and Cotton would have never had that kind of bonding. I like that a lot. And they've always been a better father-son duo than Cotton and Hank, but it's just they broke the generational gap of poor parenting. Hank and Peggy obviously raised a pretty good son. He's like a head chef in a restaurant. That's a smart guy. He's not too bad looking. He's articulate. He's a lot of things that a lot of people aren't. And I think it's pretty cool to see Bobby growing up like this. And it's even cooler to see Hank and Bobby having these father-son moments still to this day. And it seems kind of weird. Peggy doesn't have much substance in the show. She's kind of goofy, a little bit background stuff. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I wonder if we're going to have a Peggy Hill episode like we would used to back in the day. Because, they would pop up, and they were usually kind of terrible back in the day. But I want to see what Peggy Hill's up to these days, and a whole bunch of other
We'll get a
characters.
Peggy Hill episode, I believe.
Okay, cool. But overall, I like this episode a lot. It gave me the good feels in it. I really like the premise of the episode, them doing beer and all that in competition, and overall, good stuff.
It was a great second episode. The when they're at the beer thing, and they're having like the usual King of the Hill like life lesson type of thing. It felt like it could, like, just like you said about the other episode, it could have happened in any episode of any season of King of the Hill. It was just like putting on an old pair of pants or an old comfortable t-shirt. It fit right, and it felt good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. We're enjoying it a lot so far, and I've actually watched 3, and I'm going to probably watch 4 later today, and we'll next Sunday be reviewing 3 and 4, so just tune in if you want to hear what we think then. We know everybody else has probably already watched it, but we're not going to burn through the whole thing. We're going to watch this at a pace where we can get some enjoyment out of it, because that's how, I guess, we kind of like how to do things. But we're going to go ahead and move on here. A little bit different here. It's a new segment that we've done before. It's I don't know if there's going to be the name for it, but it's the name today. We got TJ's MMA Talk, and I'm going to be talking about UFC 319's main event with Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. It's going to be August 16th, 2025, which is next Saturday. And here's our little overview. It's going to be for the Middleweight Championship. Like we just said, DDP, who's the champion, versus Chimaev, who's the undefeated contender. So we got the venue and time. It's going to be in the United Center in Chicago. The main card airs at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. It's a pay-per-view. So the broadcast and production notes here are Joe Rogan returning to the commentary booth at this event alongside John Anik and Daniel Cormier. Dustin Poirier makes his first post-retirement appearance as a desk analyst. So he'll be one of the ESPN desk guys talking about the stuff.
Oh, cool.
He won't be on the commentary, but he'll be like on the booth doing the show stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And they'll be with Anthony Smith and Chael Sonnen, Michael Chisea, and with Brennan Fitzgerald hosting. Carly Arnold and Den Thomas will offer arena coaching insights. Den's always giving the little stuff. They'll ask him the technicals during the fights. So
yeah.
Chimaev's quest here, he's undefeated at 14-0, and he's aiming not only for the middleweight title, but also eyeing glory in the welterweight and even light heavyweight divisions. He's apparently got improved cardio. That's his big flaw that some people say he has. So Chimaev has overhauled his cardio with strength conditioning coach Sam Calavita. He's now entering a different level and hoping to counter du Plessis' fiery late fight pressure. Du Plessis' edge here, and he's leaning into his underdog role. He's praising how his unconventional style is hard to simulate in training, and confident Chimaev can't prepare for it. So DDP's training partner believes, Mark Hume, his name is, he believes that DDP will exploit his wrestling to finish the fight within 3 rounds. I'm not too sure about that. So DDP's last 5 fights. So this was his second middleweight defense here. We're going to go backwards and forwards. So his most recent one was Sean Strickland. This was a rematch. He won by decision, and that was at UFC 312, February 8th, 2025. And his fight before that was against ex-middleweight champ. Both of these guys are ex-middleweight champs, by the way. DDP took the belt from Strickland. So his first middleweight title defense was against Israel Adesanya, and he won by submission with a face crank, round 4. That was at UFC 305, August 17th. He's pretty regularly fighting, by the way. He's not waiting and sitting around a lot. He's more active than Chimaev is. And the fight that he had before that was Sean Strickland. He won by split decision, 5 rounds. I actually think he lost that fight. It was very close either way, so you can't be too upset about it. And that was at UFC 297, January 2024. And then before that, this was kind of a shock win for him. This is when he kind of like his coming out party. He beat Robert Whittaker by TKO punches, round 2. 2 minutes and 23 seconds into that round at UFC 290, July 8th, 2023. And then before that, he kind of got manhandled during a good portion of this fight by Derek Brunson's wrestling. But he ended up winning. Brunson gassed out. He won by TKO, corner stoppage, round 2 at a 4:59. That was at UFC 285, March 4, 2023. So du Plessis on an impressive 11-fight win streak here, with his last 5 fights all being victories, of course. It would be weird that it would say that there was a streak and then say that there, and 3 of those were for defenses of the UFC Middleweight Championship, which they were. He's the man. He's super unconventional, and he's definitely hard to prepare for. But to some extent, the more technical you are, I feel like the easier it is to beat those unconventional guys. So Chimaev's last 5 fights, like I said, he's a little bit less active, but COVID really fucked him up. And it really played on his cardio, and that's a big reason why a couple of his fights people felt like that he got tired. But anyways, his latest run with his last 5 fights with Robert Whittaker, which remember DDP also fought him, but he got him out of there in round 1. It was by submission, face crank, round 1 at 3 minutes and 34 seconds. That was at UFC 308, October 26, 2024. Then he beat Kamaru Usman, which both of these guys are champions. Robert Whittaker's a former middleweight champion. Kamaru Usman's former welterweight champion. And he won that fight by decision at UFC 294, October 21, 2023. So, that's a year between those 2 fights there. Kevin Holland won by submission. Or no, he didn't. He beat Kevin Holland by submission at round 1 at 2 minutes and 13 seconds at UFC 279, September 10, 2022. So that's another little bit over a year between those fights. But you notice a theme here, like, he won that fight by 2 minutes and 13 seconds in round 1. That's pretty impressive no matter how you look at it. Gilbert Burns, this is like the first time he was tested here in a fight. He won by unanimous decision, 3 rounds, UFC 273, April 9th, 2022. So he actually didn't have too long of a stretch between those fights there. But that was a back and forth war. He beat Gilbert pretty good in round 1, and then round 2 he got dropped. But then he came back and took him down and beat him up, and it was like I said, definitely a competitive fight, but he won it for sure. And then before that, he fought Li Jianlang, and he won by technical submission, rear naked choke, round 1. Doesn't have the time in there, but it was pretty quick. I think it was like 2 minutes. That was at UFC 267, October 30th, 2021. So he remains undefeated at 14-0, having showcased both striking and submission finishes across some high-profile matchups. And we're going to get to my prediction here. I'm really looking forward to this fight. It's going to be fucking amazing. Hopefully
I can tell.
Yeah, hopefully you are awake and watching this at the time. But if
well,
not,
your this segment has convinced me that I'm going to watch this fight. So
oh yeah,
good job.
Yeah, like this fight's going to be awesome. It's Khamzat Chimaev. It's like he's got like the most potential, I feel like, out of any fighter in the UFC to like just do some wild stuff. He's just super unpredictable. He has the most offensive game in MMA. He'll just take you down, beat you up, submit you. It's pretty wild. You'll have to check out some highlights from both these guys afterwards so you kind of get an idea of what we're dealing with. But anyways, looking into this fight, I think Khamzat Chimaev has the tools to end it early. His offensive wrestling, his ability to overpower opponents, and the way he blends in ground and pound pressure make him dangerous from the opening bell. Honestly, if it ends quick, I can see it because he's smothering du Plessis and he finds a submission, likely in the first or second round. But one of the weird things is I actually think he could kind of end this by knockout. If he keeps his striking super straight, doesn't do anything looping, he's faster and can 100% catch DDP with some very hard shots. But he's going to go for that takedown. That's just what he does. Now, on the other side of the coin, the argument for DDP is that if he survives those first 5 to 10 minutes, he's going to start wearing on Khamzat, And we've seen him drag guys into deep water before, and he thrives in chaotic, tired exchanges that could open the door for a late TKO or submission for the champ. But in this matchup, I think we see a more mature Khamzat, not just blitzing forward, but pacing himself, picking his moments, and avoiding gassing out. I still think he gets it done, but not instantly. My official pick is Khamzat Chimaev by submission in round 2. We'll see if that happens or not, but I think that's the most likely outcome. We've seen DDP struggle with wrestling before in Derek Brunson, and the levels between these guys wrestling, it's not even in the same world. We have one of the best offensive wrestlers in the world, not on like a on paper level in tournaments, but just on in MMA, what he's got
at a combat level. Yeah,
it's the highest level it gets, and I just don't think DDP has the defense for that. If he can somehow take the biggest like beating he has ever taken for 10 minutes and survive it, he can win this fight. But I don't think it's looking good for him. But that can wrap up our thing here. Like we said, you can watch it and react to us. We'll have a little reaction thing the Sunday afterwards. We can add that to it too. See if I was right on my prediction here. If not, I'll eat some crow. Maybe I'll I don't know. I'll hit my head with something to level the stakes.
Just drink a bottle of Croteen instead of eating some crow, I think.
Oh yeah, I don't want to do that. But that being said, what do we got coming next, Dave?
Well, next episode we'll be talking to you about Raw and Dynamite. We'll have more news. We'll have some kind of segment that I can't remember right now, but it'll be something entertaining that you most assuredly will not want to miss. So make sure that you tune in and find out what that is.
Oh yeah.
And as always, thanks for the fun episode, TJ. I enjoyed doing this with you. I enjoyed your MMA breakdown. That was pretty cool. It got me, like I said, it got me hyped up for wanting to watch the fight. So hopefully it does the same for some of these other folks that might not otherwise take a look at it. Yeah. Thanks for listening, Overmaniacs. We'll see you guys next episode. Don't forget to follow us on all of our deals at OverMarkEnt. And once again, thanks for the fun episode, TJ. And throw it on over to you, and we can get on out of here.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. We've had a lot of interactions lately, way more than we've ever had, and we appreciate you even watching for 30 seconds. So if you took time out of your day to listen, interact, comment, whatever, you guys we really appreciative, and just keep it up. We're not asking for much. Just keep on watching just a little bit if you don't mind. And if not,
like, comment, subscribe, all that goofy stuff.
And if you don't want to watch, don't do that either. We're not asking you to watch if you don't want to. But if you enjoy it, comment, and we'll get back to you. We reply to every comment, unless they're like really argumentative. I'm not going to reply to anybody trying to argue.
Yeah, we're not trying to fight with people, but we appreciate those comments too. Everybody's perspective's welcome.
You can
even if you're a dick.
You can tell us if we're wrong, and if you do it in a manner that's pretty normal, we'll 100% respond and be like, oh, okay, that's cool. Thanks for the information. But if you want to be mean, we're not going to be into that. But we love the discussion. We love the opinions, and we appreciate you for listening. I appreciate you, Dave. This is always a lot of fun. I'm enjoying doing this with you. And we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. I'm about to hit this music, and you guys have a good one.
DJ's yelling at a gift, Dave's eating crab. We skipped our bills to watch Raw live and ranked 800 wrestlers just to survive.